The Voidrig is not only a crucial bit of equipment to unlock, it's one that has been repeatedly made easier to farm over the years. Recently, this farm has been overhauled once again to further reduce the costs involved. So how much better has it become, and what's the best ways to get the materials you need? I'm the Engineer, let's solve a practical problem. The Voidrig, or at least a Necromech, is required in order to progress the main story and access a lot of content. While you can trade the fully built parts from other players and assemble it that way, trading shouldn't be the recommended way to get such a core item. The two changes with the Jade Shadows update to the Voidrig farm sought to address this. Firstly, demove the broken pieces from Necroloid shop to Father's, and secondly, replaced a variety of resources needed with ones generally easier to obtain. That first change to where you get broken pieces now means you do not need to complete Isolation Vaults even once to obtain your first Necromech. All of the core blueprints are obtained from completing the Heart of Deimos quest, and all 4 broken pieces can be bought from Father at 2,000 standing each, for a total of 8,000 Intrati family standing. Not only that, the broken pieces are available at rank 0 with the Intrati. As for the material costs, there have been a lot of changes. Previously, the 4 parts would need these materials to repair them. Many of these items aren't simple to get. The primary source of cranial foremounts are Myxostomata fish, which can only be obtained by fishing on Deimos during the Voam cycle using processed Voam residue. That residue requires rank 4 of the Intrati family. Otherwise, you'd have to trade with players to get the fish, at which point you could just trade for the Necromech parts fully built, or pillage Requiem obelisks throughout the Cambion Drift. In fact, Requiem obelisks were a very big deal as they are an amazing source of a mix of harder to obtain materials, including the Thormica needed for the Thormic Distillate. You do need to get kills while using a Necromech or in operator mode, including companion kills, in order to get resources from these obelisks. However, with the changes, this is no longer needed. If we update the list to today's demands to build a Voidrig, it looks like this. The refined versions of the rare gems Necrothene, Embelos and Xenahast have all been removed, replaced with the common gems Tiametrite and Dagonic, or the basic resource Orokin cells. Likewise, the high tier fish parts of Cranial Foremounts have been replaced with the abundant Lucent Terra Globes. The sometimes awkward to obtain Scintillant is now replaced with Morphix. Spinal core sections have been reduced, while a few parasitic tethermores from common Voam fish have been added in. Lastly, the demanding Thormic Distillate that called from rare Thormica, uncommon Orb Valis or Venerol, as well as Gallium and Lucent Terra Globes has been replaced with the merely uncommon gem Hesiphron. Not only does this mean the higher difficulty resources to obtain have been removed, it also removes some major costs in being able to use those resources. Stellated Necrothene and Thormic Distillate both cost 4,000 standing to get the blueprints from Otak, while Trapezium Xenahast and Cabochon Embelos require 8,000 standing each. This is on top of needing rank 3 with the Intrati to unlock all the blueprints. No amount of Requiem obelisk farming would get around that. Instead now, you need mining blueprints only up to rank 1 with the Intrati, consisting of 8,000 standing worth of blueprints. That's easily achieved from bounties from Mother, then turning in the earned Mother tokens. Likewise with the fishing, the most demanding of the parts is now the spinal core section, obtained from fish that only want normal, Voam or fast residue for bait, not the standing lock process variants. Previously, in attempting to simulate farming a full Voidrig as a new player, I spent over 3 hours on stream and still wasn't even halfway done. The sheer standing requirements meaning lots of bounties, the isolation vaults needed, the materials, it was all an absolute slog for a new player, mostly due to reaching requirements rather than material gathering. For an advanced player, farming a full Voidrig set would take a fraction of the time, which I again did on stream. Given the built pieces are tradable, it actually made more sense for an advanced player to farm and trade the parts to a low level friend to give them access in a fraction of the time. Even without a generous benefactor, it was far faster to farm platinum and buy the parts needed, even as a new player. Now, you do not have to do that at all. In fact, barring being more experienced in navigating the map, and perhaps having a well-modded companion for defense, there's not a huge difference between new and old players for gathering these resources. Let's start with the fishing. Keep an eye on the Voam and fast cycle, and when it is Voam, head to any surface fishing hotspot. They're marked by an iridescent shimmer on the surface of the exocrine. The Lobotriskids will spawn in plentiful numbers, and 4 of those will have all your parasitic tethermores. Players who've reached rank 5 with the Solaris already, unlikely if this is your first Necromech, may consider using the Oxalis Sentinel to help with fishing. For the spinal core sections and biotic filters, head into the cave surrounding the catabolic gutter and hunt for an active hotspot. This can be done during Voam or FAS. If you don't find one, take a break to gather a different resource for a few minutes instead. When you find a hotspot, deploy some Voam residue and fish away. You'll want to catch the chondrichord and duroid fish, which both stay below the surface. While I did this without using a fishing dye, as many new players may not take the steps to bring some, it's a seriously good idea to use it here. You can also catch the other fish to rotate the spawns, get extra loot, and just stave off any boredom. Then there is the mining. You need both gems, which spawn from blue veins in all open worlds, and ore, which spawns from the not blue veins. In this case, they're a yellowy colour. Use the Sunpoint plasma drill from Fortuna and harvest the nodes all around the caves surrounding the catabolic gutter. This gives the best of both high quantity and density packed nodes, as well as a good spread of rarities. Where you can, hit the bonus gem spot to get extra gems, especially helpful for farming a Saffron. If you've mined the whole cave area out and need more, I'd recommend leaving and re-entering the Cambia Drift, rather than going to other smaller or less useful caves. Previously, Thormica would be better obtained from a different cave, but you don't need it now. I cover this in more detail in my guide to mining. Lastly of the Cambion specific materials is the Lucent Terra Globe. You can earn these in high quantities by going to any ruined Orokin structure, such as these collapsed highway looking structures. Equip your codec scanner or synthesis scanner to zoom in and look around the area, highlighting nearby lootables. The vitreous outcrops, these spiky objects, drop a bundle of Terra Globes every time. Outcrops spawn both on and below these ruins. Aside from the highway structures, you can also find between 1 and 3 outcrops around platforms where the Requiem obelisks spawn. That's a bonus if farming the obelisks, though I personally found the ruins more reliable. On the map, I recommend going to these ruins here, then reload the map if you still need more Terra Globes. Of the remaining resources to obtain, you need mining materials from the Plains of Eidolon and Orb Valis, as well as basic resources. On the Plains of Eidolon, you need both Ferros and Pyrol. Both can be obtained from ore veins, the red ones, and in good quantity from the Twin Horns and Mount Nang cave systems. From Orb Valis, you need just Traverite these days, obtainable in good quantity from the Transit Depot cave to the south here. Do be aware that a resource drop chance booster appears to reduce the number of ore vein spawns, replacing them with more gem veins. This is helpful for obtaining his Sivron especially, but comes at the cost of slowing down the half dozen ores you need. Then we have the basic resources. You'll most likely obtain all the nanospores and plastids you need while completing some bounties to get mother tokens to get your Intrati standing. This can also provide you with a small number of Orokin cells. Rubido is an exceptionally common resource from even Earth, so that should be no bottleneck. For Morphics, if you don't have 3, speeding through the Iliad assassination on Phobos against the Sergeant has a very high chance of dropping 1 Morphic on killing him. For Orokin cells, the combination assassination mission on Ceres, fighting both Vor and Lech Krill, has a very high chance of rewarding at least 1 Orokin cell from the fight, occasionally awarding 2. Remember to stand close to Lech Krill to make him use his Icy Slam attack, then quickly shoot him when he becomes briefly vulnerable. Do that 4 times and he'll lose his protection, opening up the final blow. Alternatively, level your weapons and warframes at the defense mission Helene on Saturn, where you can commonly find other players farming it too. While not guaranteed, this gives a moderate chance of getting an Orokin cell every few waves, while also being a source of plastids, nanospores, and plentiful affinity. Combine all these farming tips together and a bit of player skill, it's reasonable to farm the whole Necromech in under 3 hours without resource boosters, or under 2 hours with them. The only bottleneck of particular note is the 19,500 standing required to both rank up and purchase all the necessary blueprints, broken pieces, and the fishing spear. If you don't select one of the mining blueprints on ranking up, the cost instead climbs to 21,500 standing. At most, that's turning in mother tokens on 2 separate days rather than a week or so of ranking up the syndicate. With that all done, you then only need to worry about modding Voidrig. Fortunately for you, I already have a guide on exactly that, which will make your Necromech a force to be reckoned with. I hope you found this guide helpful on getting a Voidrig. If you want to see more, consider supporting the channel over on Patreon and add your name to the video credits. That's all from me for now, so as always, dig up rocks, get unlocked, and fight well, Tenno.